In a world where consistent inconsistency and objective correctness was at an all-time low, when the world needed them the least, the off-season, they disappeared. But now, once again, the world of college football desperately needs its professional yappers. They said it couldn't be done. They said they'd never return. But they were wrong. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Talk-Ons. This is Cam and Chase. Chase, can you hear me? Where do you go? What the hell? Where's that music coming from? Oh! There is everybody. Chase. What a nerd. It's enough of that. We can't hear you.
No! What? Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise.
I guess that's it for the audio clip. The Talk-Ons are back, baby. But yes, of course.
Oh, we're back.
Professional.
We are back.
Objectively.
We're back.
Correct. Consistent inconsistency.
The most correct.
The most. The professional yappers of the Talk-Ons have returned to serve college football once again.
And to be the utmost correct in everything that comes out of our mouths.
2025-2026 season.
Indeed.
Anyway.
Football's back. It's back, baby.
Football is back. This is what we trained for. This is what it's all about.
That's all I've thought about this entire time.
Yeah,
Family,
all year.
Nope. Just
Work?
Football.
Nope. But yeah, anyway, folks.
I guess I should introduce myself now. He introduced himself as Brother Cam, corny, but whatever. I'm Brother Chase. We're the Talk-Ons. Today, though, no time prime, because apparently prime time has no clue how to manage clock. Late in the fourth quarter, but then when he's questioned about it, he just talks like it was all the right decisions to make, but they weren't. But I digress. Maybe we'll get into that later.
Whoa, buddy. Whoa, calm down. We can approach that at a later time.
I think he just was struggling to see the scoreboard with those sunglasses on. That's probably what it was.
Them goofy ass sunglasses. Yes, this is my co-host, No Time Prime, and I'm about to pre-rank, which we'll talk about that a little bit later too.
Kids, don't ask.
Don't ask the answers you don't want to know. Don't ask for the answers.
So we're back, and a lot has happened already in this preseason. This has been preseason and into the first week. A lot of stuff. A lot of controversy too surrounding specific quarterbacks. So
yeah, lot to talk about there, I guess.
I'm sure
Yeah,
that'll
for
have to
those
come up
who,
at some point.
oh yeah, and for those who have been watching us from last season, our first season, starting this goofy ass sports podcast, um, which
Don't wear that out.
truthfully, we're it's too late.
Yeah,
We're
if you use it twice, that's too many times.
we're we do this for fun. We're brothers that love football. We love college football because it's just something about the hype and the representation and the regional, cultures involved, and that homegrown fandom about college football. So we just decided what better podcast to have than college football. And without giving too much of our backstory, um, we considered doing an off-season stretch, but just never happened. But if you are viewers of us before, you already know we are professionals and inconsistently consistent, but consistently professionally inconsistent and always objectively correct. This is the Talk-Ons.
That's the most important part, is that it doesn't matter. Consistency doesn't matter as long as you're always right.
Exactly. So, and we decided it's time to return.
Just know that outside of the podcast, on the streets during off season, we were right. So,
yep. Just know that we were always.
When I say
right
on the streets, I don't mean like that kind of on the streets. I mean like just out in public. So.
Whatever you say, bro.
I wish you would have never gotten a soundboard. This is going to be the death of both of our ears.
And yes, we also, with an updated season, I have gotten updated tools at my disposal for our casual podcasting, which still involves the free trial, or not free trial, but free usage of the platform StreamYard. As you can see right over there. I hate mirroring. But anyway, yeah, we got like sounds and stuff, and you can see I got a cool little green screen background. I figured what better to use than our original draft picture that I hand scribbled of an idea for our channel picture, which our little sister actually made the actual channel picture. So that was kind of neat.
I would have a background maybe in the future, but kind of a background would have kind of ruined the the plan we had for my intro, which now that I'm realizing it, that intro might have implied some things. Just know. Actually, no, I don't need to explain myself. Who cares?
You heard it here, folks. Anyway, let's get down to the nitty gritty. One more disclaimer is that if for anybody who's never watched our podcast before, we just go ahead and clear the air and get this out the way. We are UGA fans. We are fans of the Georgia Bulldogs football program. That's like our team. But even with that being said, we obviously stick to being as grounded and neutral and non-biased as possible because we're always objectively correct. So that goes without saying.
Right.
But sometimes we might, you might hear more about Georgia specific stuff. So for our fellow Georgia fans out there, there you go.
There you go. You'll you'll probably just want to listen to us a little bit more just because deep down we're Georgia fans. So
yes, sir.
We won't hesitate to tell the world how it is and tell the dogs how it is when they are not performing the way they should, or as I guess the way they should perform is biased now because we've seen them winning lately. But
well, my problem is that when it's time for Kirby and his assistant coaching staff to take accountability, they want to divert it elsewhere. So I'm a little disappointed in those patterns from last season, but that's something we can talk about for another day.
That was something that we were going to mention in a earlier episode that we were going to try and finish off. We just never got around to finishing off the season.
I mean, truthfully, what we were going to do most of the off season was going to be talking about Georgia specifically because of how out of character they were last season. But
And it wasn't even
coaching.
like
It was coaching.
it wasn't even like necessarily the overall play. I mean, it wasn't characteristic. Defense was lackluster. Their run game was awful, nearly non-existent, and hands. I guess whoever was in that locker room, training those receivers, have never heard the term hands before, and I guess they don't even know what they are. They had the most drops in the entire nation, which is insane.
Yeah, that was
for program of this caliber.
A program like Georgia, and honestly, it really was more so like not so much expectations of past performance, but fundamentals. Just objectively, their fundamentals last season were awful, which points to coaching. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. On to the next. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, I think
we got our intro. So
yeah, I got the intro, but what our first episode that we ever did, we did our little segment that we do when we kind of call out the stupidity in the world of college football. We did that our first episode, right? So,
I don't remember if we did turnover on clowns. Whoops, gave it away.
What is that?
Holy it. Is that Deion Sanders?
Looks like it's time for turnover on clowns, baby.
Disclaimer, I'm not trying to pick on anybody and start beef with anybody. I'm just, this is just to poke fun at people when they make a mistake in the week or say something that we highly disagree with. And my main take, which I guess I might as well go ahead and jump into it, was Deion Sanders this past week. Because of, in his post-game press conference after losing to Georgia Tech, they had that series. Well, I guess I'll preface it. They had a series where they were moving the ball down the field, and then there was like about a minute left in the game.
About a minute and a half.
About a minute and a half, minute left in the game. They take and they're down a score, so they got to get a touchdown. Well, they get tackled for loss. It becomes like a 2nd and 14 or 2nd and 15, something like that. And then they don't take a timeout there, which I guess is okay, but because I get tempo's a thing, which is what Deion mentioned. He said, "Oh, you just don't understand tempo. We were playing tempo. You don't call a timeout. You get up, you move, play tempo." And I'm like, I understand tempo is a thing when you're playing football and you're within that 2-minute time frame, but you got to have that tempo. You can't claim tempo is the reason you're not calling timeouts when there is no tempo. It took them like 23 seconds, something like that, between that tackle for loss and then them starting the next play. And in that time, they didn't call a timeout just for them to get 13 yards and pop up 1 yard short. And then you waste 20 seconds off the clock and then fall a yard short so this clock doesn't stop. Now you definitely call a timeout. I don't care who you are. You call a timeout now. You just have to, because you're 3rd and 1, you wasted 20 seconds. And he doesn't still. And then to make it matters even worse, tempo is once again thrown out the window, because then the quarterback scrambles for another 15, 20 seconds just to pick up a yard. And, at that point, if you're not going to call timeout in 3rd and 1, he needs to teach his quarterback, you drop. You just try and hit the line. And if you can't get that yard, you just call a timeout. Now you got time to think about this 4th and 1.
Well, what that was is they had the first down on that play when the quarterbacks, if we're talking about the same run, he had the first down. But this is something I've noticed is a very common occurrence in college football these days. And I think a lot of it has to do with like football has more like hype, showboat star power to it more than ever. And it's more of like about showing off than ever before. So you get these players, and this has been going on for past recent years. You've got a first down right in front of you. And instead of taking north-south, that momentum to get that first down, which is the most important thing to your team and offense at that point, when you see the defenders and you're trying to show out, you think you got an opportunity. Oh, I'm going to show out and look cool. Watch this. I'm going to make everybody miss, and I'm going to take it even 20 yards further downfield. And that's got to stop. And that was another thing that I was like, Dion, you gotta drill that into your players' heads, man. If you got, and especially in a situation like that, first down's right in front of you. Take the first down and drop. And we ain't got time to showboat and make it all about you and how many defenders you can make miss. I mean, I know it's a sport. I know we're having fun, but it's a team sport. And if your goal is to win, then you need to do what it takes to fundamentally, achieve that goal.
Speaking of fundamentals, I'm going to put this in there real quick because you're talking about players wanting to juke and do this and just kind of take the longer route to at least maybe pick up more. I honestly, I feel like maybe it's just me, but I feel like just fundamentals are kind of being overshadowed in general, any kind of fundamentals. I know that when you and me watch games,
oh yeah, for sure.
We always notice
showboat,
the biggest thing
the
we
showboat
notice,
mentality is taking over.
It's not just the showboat. It's just I like stripping the ball. I know stripping the ball is a big part of the game, and you want to strip the ball, but it's like you've got to do it in a fundamental way where you can try and at least you got to make sure you're getting that tackle while also stripping the ball. It's like there's ways, you swing an arm over from behind, or you come in at an angle to where you can kind of get that hand in there, and you don't want to just straight up sock the player like your UFC, but I mean Tillman used to do it all the time. Tillman would just start punching at the ball, man. It's like you come in, kind of tackle in a way, you get that hand on the ball, maybe put your elbow in the ball or something. But
you got to put that shoulder into it.
You stripping the ball is much rarer than just making a tackle. So it's like you got to just make sure because the fundamental part of the game is make the tackle, because if you tackle properly, you can still keep them out the end zone. I know you want to strip the ball, get the ball back, get off the field, and get your offense on the field. But I'm seeing players that will literally just try and strip the ball and just let someone carry them. Not even carry them. They're just trying to strip the ball and standing up with them, trying to strip the ball.
They're taking a walk with them. They're taking a walk of like 15 extra yards with them
because they're like, oh, these 10, 15 yards don't matter as long as in the end I strip the ball. And it's like the chances of you successfully stripping that ball are a lot lower than you think. Just tackle. I've seen people just completely let touchdowns go because strip the ball. By the time I think once you're inside that 5, 10, 15, the 5, 10 yard line, if that opponent's within that 5, 10 yard line, it's no longer about stripping the ball unless you can get that perfect angle that I'm talking about to strip it.
Stopping gains.
Stripping
it's not even about stopping. It's about stopping gains. It's about stopping players, about making tackles. I mean, it's really not even about the mental gymnastics of, oh, when is the moment when I'm supposed to go for it? No, it's like a ladder logic thing. It's like first and foremost, you make the tackle, you wrap up and you make the tackle. Right. Secondarily, you tackle in a way that increases the probability, along with a fundamental tackle intended to bring them down and stop them, increases the proper form that increases the probability of them fumbling, as you said, like from behind tackle. The bear hug. The downward bear hug across their arms down to the legs,
or you come across
stuff like that.
You come across from, like, if you're coming from their side or something, you come across, go to wrap up the waist and the legs, but then you do it in a way where you can kind of get that hand in there and you hit while you're also wrapping up that other arm around there.
I mean,
which granted, I know, like, if we're being honest, like me and you, the highest level of college or the highest level of football we've played is high school, and so we're no amazing, pure, perfect players or anything, but I'm sorry. I mean, I still think at the end of the day that if you're trying to strip the ball and they get 10 more yards in the middle of you stripping the ball to get into the end zone, which I've seen plenty of already this season, it's like, you can't tell me that's the right way to do it. You just can't. I'm not going to believe you. Like, no matter what. I don't care if it is D1 athletes doing this. If they're scoring a touchdown, you've done it wrong.
It's not always about your skill level and athleticism when it comes to the fundamentals. I mean, the knowledge of the sport is still the knowledge, regardless of the person's skill and physical abilities. I mean, that's why you got coaches like Andy Reid. He ain't going to get out there and run a 4.4 on the 40, but man's out there winning Super Bowls because he knows the game and knows how to coach his players.
But he's also like 150 years old and he's been coaching for 125.
My point is
Andy
that
Reid.
the knowledge base stands independently and objectively of itself. Technique is technique, and Anybody who knows football knows that. Like, and that's, I guess we're just including that inherently in turnover on clowns as the state of the sport is kind of like in that the sub, because we do state of the sport sometimes, which state of the sport, I guess today's topic for that is the lost art of football fundamentals. Players just, it's almost like not just this generation of players are more focused on the more showy aspects, but the coaches aren't upholding the fundamentals very properly, which you can't force the players to do what you want them to do at game time. But, fundamentals, use both hands, stretch your body, make those catches, dive for the ball when it's catchable, wrap up, make the tackle,
stuff like diving and all like that. I can understand to some degree just because injuries are such a huge part of football. And, now it's not just about being just as good as you can. It's about getting that longevity, and players like Tom Brady have really like made that more of a common or more like sought after
it's
thing
just a balance.
because they've shown that you can see it. So it's like you got to know what to dive for and what to go for. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry,
a trade-off of
tackling is always, it's just a basic part of the game. And I don't care who you are, I don't care what level of football you've been in. The number one rule of football is to keep them out the end zone. And if you don't do that, because you're trying to strip the ball and you just pretty much walk with them into the end zone, you're not playing good defense. You're not playing fundamental defense.
And to add on to that, another thing about earlier is if you're gonna focus on the strip, you can't rely on turnovers to win a game first and foremost. So that's inherently a flawed approach to your strategy. But if you're gonna go for a strip, if like that's going to be your focus is stripping the ball, then do it when you have multiple teammates, multiple fellow defenders engaging the tackle.
One-on-one, the thing is that they all just strip. They all, because they're like, oh, well, 3 people pulling on a ball is.
But that's where that team communication comes in. It's like, hey, first 2 people to hit this guy, go for the tackle, bring him down. Somebody else gets in on it. Hey, you go for the strip. But anyway, we've talked enough about the fundamental parts, the lost art of fundamentals.
Well, I just wanted to put in another turnover on clown. I think we all know is just like the state of how Arch was treated, and the poor kid had so much just ridiculous amount of pressure put on him, and now everybody's coming down on him. But I hate to break it to you, football people who know football, such as the always objectively correct brothers Cam and Chase. Arch played about as I expected. First start walking into Columbus, Ohio, playing the defending national champs Ohio State. I don't care, like we can say, oh, you're not actually defending the title, but they're still Ohio State, still always top 5 in recruiting, still Ryan Day's team. I don't know what anybody expects.
I don't really care. Honestly, I don't really care.
And if you think he's trashed because of the way he played, then you're wrong. I mean, we don't know yet. Just like
we don't know yet.
So I'm all for the kid being successful.
I don't care who they're playing. I don't care who they're playing. If anybody thought that Arch Manning, which nothing but love to Arch Manning, this whole media debacle is not his fault personally, and we want the best for him. Hope he succeeds, but let's be down to earth and objective here, objectively correct. I don't care who he's playing. Anybody who knows football, if anybody thought that this kid in his first ever start was going to go out there and win the Heisman, his first ever start playing, I don't care who they're playing, then they've lost their minds. And the main focus is the clown in this turnover on clowns segment is the media, college football media, sports media as a whole. And honestly, I mean, look, I know how the media functions. The media is here. Their purpose is to hype things up, create stories, entertain, positivity, all those things. Like, especially when it comes to big brands, they gotta glaze the big brands. But here's the thing. The Arch Manning thing, the hype behind that was unacceptable. Because first of all, you're setting the kid up to fail. You're putting unrealistic, stupid narratives and expectations on this kid, setting him up to fail. There's thousands of athletes just like him, just as athletic and skilled as him, trying to do the same thing he's doing. Just because his last name is Manning doesn't mean that he's won the Heisman before he even steps on the field. And let's bring up the game day for week 1 where Lee Corso retired and they did the tribute to him. And we love you, Lee, and we hope you just have nothing but happiness and a good life moving forward. Everything that he's done for the sport and sports media. But to have a tribute to a legend, a real proven legend like Lee Corso, and then immediately after that, air a hype segment that treats Arch Manning, someone who barely even has the stats of a backup and has never started officially as a starting quarterback in college a day in his life, to give him an airtime special hype cinematic, like he's just some already proven legend just because his last name is Manning and that he's already a Heisman grade. And I really don't think I have to explain it too much. I think anybody with good sense knows that that's one of the dumbest things sports media has ever done. The Arch Manning hype is ridiculously stupid.
A QB
and it's
who's
bad
never
for Arch
started
Manning
a game.
They're setting him up to fail.
A QB who's never started a game, or a man who has evolved the audience and the outlook on college football for over 30 years. And it was like, I like the Manning kid.